Okay, ignore that one. Sometimes our graphics aren't quite right. Welcome along to week 11 of the Skip Barber series, where we're so devilishly close to the end, and it's going to be 2 tough weeks to finish out the job. 2 pretty great tracks, in my opinion, including one of my favourite free iRacing ones. Motorsport Arena Oschersleben in Germany. It's as fat as a pancake, but it's plenty tight around there. That first corner, though, is not the first corner we recognise from our pursuit in the Rookie Series. It's the old style. It used to be controversial in its day. Let's find out how these 12 drivers take on the challenge. 12 drivers on today's grid. We cut exactly at 24, leaving on each end 12 per split. And that's led this one to SOF at over 5,000. While drivers set their qualifying times, let's take a look at these standings. I can't tell you what everything's going to mean, because while this overlay can do some lovely calculations for me, there are still drop weeks. There are 4 across the championship, and so as we stack on points, weeks are going to drop off the back end. A little bit complicated and a little bit bothersome, but Tim has the opportunity to, I would say, effectively secure it today with a good win. Whereas Ryan's going to need to hope for a bit of a miracle in his end, and I'm not counting out Adam Miles from doing something surprising given his week-to-week prodigious pace. He's ready to finally lock in some points. Drivers are just finishing their qualifying now. I've done a lot of production for someone else over the last couple weeks in iRacing, another iRacing's YouTube channel. So if you see any classic oval setup shop logos around on stream, they didn't pay me, and it was an accident. That's my legal defense. I have to swap the theme out between clients now, and sometimes you are your own client in this space. Take a look at our qualifying times right now. Hopefully it will render. I don't think we have a time done. This is quite a long track, it seems. First lap is Tim Hendrickson's. A 1:49.54. What's Adam Miles going to rival with? Joachim Osbeck sets the next time, along with Ryan Chenoweth, who's just behind on the 1:41.0. Peter Sapanki, Sam Devantier, also on the road just behind, along with Daniel Toga, who's been getting some surprising results over the course of the season. Adam swings wide. It's quite easy to get unlucky off tracks in these green sections. You get all 4 over the road and suddenly lose it. I don't really get how to not get off track in somebody's rookie car. Sebastian Rade? I'd need to know the country. Adam Miles in with our current pole lap. Here's the onboard of Tim Hendrickson as he runs one more lap around the track. Let me turn that down just a little. I'm always a bit conscious of car audio in these spaces. Always a little bit conscious. He's going to need a good lap, Tim. Adam, every time he shows up, he just appears to show that sometimes you're the best at what you do by absolutely dominating. And it could turn into a 3-horse race. Again, someone more smart than me is going to have to do the maths on what the points mean. Till then, with 2 good corners, Tim Hendrickson could punch in a good lap to beat Adam's first attempt, but I wouldn't call it until he's crossed the line. The fast exit out of the final turn. This could be impressive. A 140. That's going to be around the 145. Will be enough for pole. But now, Adam Miles needs to react. It's a 146.23. You can never truly count on the predicted lap. As you cross the line, Ryan Chenoweth still in the 40s. Looks like that's not going to improve with Peter Sapanki improves his position to 8th, and Chris Wayne to 9th. Most drivers finishing their laps now. Adam Miles, he knows how to get momentum out of this car. He knows how to absolutely keep it rolling, and he's going to need to have kept it rolling around that last corner to put something in the 0.5 to maybe beat this out. I think it has happened, but we'll wait for confirmation. It is a 40.572. That's pole position. Sam Devantier has jumped Hendrickson as well to get into the P3. Anything else on the road? Someone has something shameful to hide on this grid. Okay, I can't quite catch it. Let me reset that. I noticed that somebody has a meatball flag, and unfortunately, I can't quite get the replays of how that happened. Unless I can try. I'm sorry, Sebastian Rede. Or if I just, like, hit rewind really hard. Oh, he is here. He is here. He is here. Qualifying has to give you some things to focus on sometimes, okay? I like the classic Alpine car. I'll say that. I'll say that. It's going. I don't know what happened. Who knows? Neil Gardner still on the track running laps. Don't think he has another legal one in the books. Daniel Atoga has another legal one in the books, though, and he's going to be running around the track. It's not going to challenge the very top. It could have even been an off-track on that grass. You never really know around here. It's not going to count legally. Oh, it is. That's 4th place. Love iRacing's little delay. They just love to throw you off your game. Here's our starting grid. 12 cars hit the grid now. I'm going to be Adam Miles next to Sam Devante on the front row. Tim Hendrickson starts ahead of Daniel Atoga, who did sneak in at the very last second. Ryan Chenoweth in 5th with Neil Gardner in 6th. It's a who's who of regulars, missing quite a few of the stragglers who ended up in the second split. Jenny Zorak in 7th with Yannick Murrell in 8th. Joachim Osbeck sits in 10th with Chris Wayne, 9th with Chris Wayne in 10th. Numbers are hard, Peter Zornke and Sebastian Vrede. I'm going to go with Vrede because I have lived in Germany and I know W is often a V, so we're going to go with it. My deepest apologies to Martin in the chat, who I spent an entire Skip Barber broadcast once calling Martin van Eccles. It's funny, because if you could see his full name, you would see the lack of an S. Drivers getting ready on the grid now. I'm just double checking some data before I do something stupid. Now's the time to make sure. Yeah, transcoding is set up and Restream is just whining at me. Just complaining. I think 20k is okay. I think it works. Hit the fast preset, get it running. Never really know. We're going to have 14 laps of Oschersleben and every position's going to count all the way to the line. I can hear engines running, so we go green on the flag, man. And just like that, we are green at Oschersleben. I have a very classic line to drop if people mess up this first corner. It's a harsh 90-degree turn instead of the typical sweeper. Going 3 wide into this first corner, and it's the usual suspects. Big tyre barrier in the way. We've made it through just about cleanly. Sam Devante loses out. Tim Hendrickson jumps into the P2. Daniel Atoga's going to sneak up on the inside, though, and help get this done. Get a clean turn 1. I'm not going to say the line. You were all expecting it. You were all waiting for it. Well, that was the BTCC, and these cars can actually turn. Even as a TCR lover, I'll tell you, they are not very cooperative. And Miles has a good run away with Tim Hendrickson and Daniel Atoga in quick chase behind. We're single file for now. There are overtaking opportunities on this track. You need a few guts. Now, drivers in the session before this tried 3 wide into turn 1. They made it work. I feel like when the pressure heats up, they might try 4. And that 4 could result in dead race cars. I think drivers are trying to keep it pretty sane right now. I'm not seeing much movement. But there's no point throwing it all away. At this stage of the game, Adam Miles leads the first lap. Behind, we do see some movement out of line. It's not quite going to be enough to kick off an overtake as we pile into turn 2. That is Neil Gardner's car. You see him at the front of some of these fields, and he hasn't quite made it up for a while. Not going to use the full draft this time into turn 1. We keep rolling. Now, I have like a rule where every time I say I like a track, it doesn't quite deliver on the show. So I'll preface this by saying I quite like driving this track. Without saying that every race here is an absolute banger, but it does have some good corners and it does have some good opportunities to set up for some good moments. I think the drivers are going to hang in and be patient for a long time before we get some of that on the other end. Hendrickson has caught up into the rear of Adam Miles and is gonna look to try and take advantage. This tight chicane over here. I know there is a McDonald's corner here, which is very funny. That tight chicane, you really gain from cutting it as much as you can, but you touch one of those bollards and it's a slowdown. At least it's consistent, but it's very easy to push the limits. Now, this is a tough chicane to play that game in. He could be well set up for the long start-finish straight here to snipe away at that P1. Our top 5 have really gotten away, the rest straggling. Tim Hendrickson should have a good draft here, and it's just about when he chooses to make that move in with less than a 10. Doesn't get it done. That first corner might dissuade more overtakes than it encourages. Time to Vantir, and Tog also tried to go for it and didn't quite. We keep rolling. Moves are possibly going to get more desperate as the day rolls on. Hendrickson wants that eye in. Still not happening quite yet. Further behind, Zhernay Zorek leads the pack of remaining drivers with there's a 2-second gap between him and the rest of the field. And he's going to keep getting slowed. Nothing that raw lap time around here can't succeed him. Really, even though there's a bit of a gap between this sort of 2 and then the 3 and then the 4-5, as long as you're within striking distance, I think it's very reasonable to say that you could be in with a shot. It's not a very long one. It's 20 minutes, could be 20 minutes long. As we see a little bit of dirt there kicked up by a Toga. I don't foresee DQs being a massive limiting factor here. Off tracks are not, you can pick up 1 or 2 a lap. I don't see them. Absolutely. Here comes Tim Hendrickson. He's going for the move this time. Well and truly alongside. Tough braking zone into turn 1 could help him secure it. Usually it's quite hard to get that in a traditional turn 1 around here. Does Miles have the pace? He does have the inside line. He's going to have some momentum. We're still side by side. Cars too far wide apart to use any side draft. It's not going to matter. Tim's going to slot in. Further behind, Neil Gardner's playing games with Zhernay Zorek as well. And he's going to make that one clear, but if Tim can do it, Adam could do it back. Very gentlemanly community, I got to say. Neil and Zhernay still going, and that's Neil around. A little bit of wheel contact has sent him back, and he's going to join the back of the grid. Name things you hate to see. It's just small margins. It really, really is. Don't like those moments on our racetrack, but it's also the Australian time zone. You know how it be. It's Australians and British drivers on the same planet. And that means everyone gets dragged into the America server. That's iRacing's rules. Rules of engagement are neutral territory for these two warring regions is America. We move on. 9 to go. Looks like Sam Devantier is going to be next to try and make that attack. Maybe he just wants to take advantage of Adam, realizes that Adam's letting this happen. Bit out of character. Adam is definitely more ahead on the inside this time. And they're going to file out single file. In fact, Sam Devantier might even have lost a bit to Daniel Atoga. Not quite. Oh, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to see some places getting traded. It's not like a procession draft train where the places being traded are a guarantee. But at the same time, you know, you can trade, but it's about where you are on the last lap. It's always about where you are on the last lap. The cars that races closely. Gap between now Yannick Marrell that leads that pack behind. And the rest up to 4 seconds now. Seems as if working in the tandem is giving you a lot of advantages. Sam Devantier, having not made that move work the first time, he still wants to take advantage of Adam Miles and lay him out to dry. Still dust being kicked up. Journey gets ahead of Yannick behind. They're still chasing in these little packs over here. Neil Gardner's a second and a half back from the rest of the pack. It's going to have to really work to make some of that up. Tim Hendrickson gets a fastest lap. It's very often been the drivers in second that have been claiming these. A little bit of a slip there from Adam Miles, not quite enough to unsettle. Also a little bit of looseness there from Atoga, still keeping it together. He's going to lose momentum here, though. Ryan Chenoweth. I thought he'd get alongside. He absolutely did not. Our top 5 runs through the rest of the track. Keeping an eye behind these guys are just chasing and swapping left, right, and centre. Don't want to miss anything at the front, but I don't want to miss anyone else either. Life's all about making these executive decisions. See our pack further ahead, and then we can see Yannick behind Journey, at least trying to get that place. I saw some dust and smoke being kicked up again. Doesn't look like anyone is well and truly back. Daniel Atoga has gotten loose on more than one occasion here. We've seen quite a bit of the wobblies. And a Miles from another fastest lap. It's a 1:40.0. A 39 is completely on the table today. The train moves on. That between Journey and Derek has grown a bit, but these things grow and shrink, and I think it's all sort of margin of error. A tiniest little bit of banking into this turn does actually help get the car rotated. I've done 3 hours of endurance around here before. Eventually you learn every in and out of it. Next week will be the season finale for both SoF series covered on this channel. Well, next week's weird because one of them's on Mondays. So understand that week means what iRacing say it means. And then understand with me that we finished the Skip Barber series, and our second big one, it's at Mount Panorama. The Aussies are all over it. It's a track that I really just don't really work out very well with. If there's any field that you can trust to maximize every little bit out of it, Trust these guys, and it's going to be on this channel at the same time next week as we finish off the iRacing series. Very much in style, I think. Very much a strategical choice to put that one at the very end to keep us going this whole way. We do have 39s out of miles. 1:39.9. You probably gain a little bit more time in the P2 place than the P1 place, as is usually the standard on tracks where you can't quite run away and people aren't running away. Neil Gardner gets past Sebastian Vrede. He's just trying to make out every place he can today. Our lowest I rating driver today is 3.1k, Sebastian Vrede, and that's a talented I rating on any day. I believe I can actually put I rating in the overlay for a second. Look at that. Have you ever seen a lobby that stacked? The Aussies know how to do it. Not much changing around these drivers, but time's ticking. A number of laps to go is shrinking. 7 now, will be 6 very, very soon. Ryan Chenoweth's the last driver who really has any way in here. He's going to need to stay on the back of the train and not let that gap strike out too much. Neil Gardner still making up places. We have a big battle behind, and Sapanki's bumping into Vrede. All three getting away with it. Neil Gardner's now going to make up 3 seconds to join the next driver. But it's crazy that at the back of that start-finish straight, you can see the leaders up front. Adam Miles, he's going for the outbreak. He's gone for the move there, side by side, and they're running too wide on 2 lanes down. Daniel Toga got his pass done, and he's going to slot into line. Ryan Chenoweth waiting to try and take advantage, but behind. Adam didn't get what he wanted, and Devante lost his chance now to really take advantage of this top 2. Toga has been, there's a few drivers that I've known for certain things throughout the season. I didn't know anyone going into this, and I've come out knowing a lot about a lot of people. I see Adam Miles as consistently alien pace, sometimes patient. Tim Hendrickson as the next in command when it happens. Neil Gardner as actually unlucky perhaps. And I've seen Daniel Toga as a driver that sticks his nose in. And is afraid to stick his nose in, even if there might be a small incident from it. That's what I've gotten to know from some of these drivers. That's been my read on them. Been a joy to get to know all of them, really. Really has been, and I have more to say on the final week, really. I think I've got a nicer goodbye, because due to personal reasons, I don't see myself returning to the 10 AM time slot for at least Season 2. Although I'll do my best to make sure that someone's in place for this community. Adam Miles on the inside there, but being on the inside in 1 gets set you up badly for 2, and the pace still isn't there in time. Things stay as they stay. 5 to go. Oh, we are still seeing relative peace in this land. Relative's an important word. Every lap that goes by, people are doing more and more into turn 1 and trying to get away with more and more. And will we be promised a brilliant free wide at one point? A result like this would essentially lock in the championship. Tim, I say essentially because drop weeks make this so hard to calculate, but it would be very, very hard to unseat him. More to go. Going to see elbows coming out and drivers kicking out of line in ways they didn't at the start of the race. And Adam Miles is done trying to be patient. He's gone for it again. This is one of his best runs at the outside this race. It's still not good enough. Very good covering there by Tim Hendrickson. I thought that Miles was going to get his lunch eaten by somebody else. It hasn't happened, and we stay as we were. There's no world in which Zerne Zorak makes up more gaps given that he's been losing time, but Joachim Osbeck, I'm sure there's a better way of saying, has done a good job of sneaking up this little pack. He made it past Yannick Marrell, and he could challenge for this best of the rest. As the gap expands, and eventually these drivers start to lose the view of the leaders. There is a good draft down here, but this chicane I find is just a bit too open and also a bit too tight. It's both at once. And you're never going to be given the inside for free. That is Adam Miles off the track. He recovers just in time and stays in front of the rest. How'd he get away with that? I'll get a replay of that once we see what happens into turn one, because every turn one seems to be a treat. Adam Miles might be a bit too far behind this time to make the move. Perhaps. Show me the Adam Miles off track. This could have been a total disaster. He knows how to save the car, though. This is a bold, bold corner sequence, too. Oh, he went all the way wide. Gathers it back on time. And then sneaks out in front. Something else has just happened on the road. It's Joachim Osbeck. There was contact. And that is awfully unlucky to get the meatball flag off. There was a meatball flag from that contact. Just can't believe the things you see here sometimes. Must have, like, barely clipped the wall and aligned the wheels an inch too far out. How do you live life like that? Eternal pity and eternal pain. With 3 to go, it's going to be 2 very, very soon. No matter how big the gap, I think one of these 3 will go for it. Adam Miles this time sneaks towards the outside. Hendrickson tries to cover off. It's not quite going to work. Almost a move there for Otoga to do the same thing. Now, they're willing to bang wheels together, and this time force Hendrickson completely out of line. Adams had enough, and Otoga might take advantage as well. Now they're side by side. Swings in response. That was well and truly a Skip Barber wheel-banging moment there. Drive them like they have fenders. And have enough of sitting behind. Hendrickson continues leading this championship. This scoring pylon considers the drop weeks, but also my brain can't. So I'll bring you a full report at the beginning of the Bathurst round. Next week, Hendrickson wants to repeat the affairs. It's not going to happen that way. White flag's about to fly, and I don't want to know what's going to happen in this turn one. Don't make me say the line. Judge Mospik is going to be able to get away with that meatball flag. I did the maths, and while it's complicated, I was corrected a long time ago by Beatrice by saying it's 5 laps, and effectively it is 5 laps. Complicated. Good slipstream here from Tim Hendrickson. He's going to get this done well and truly before the braking zone, and that is a contact behind. Daniel Atoga around, backwards and out, and in fact that top 2, they've completely dropped off the chain. I want to know what happened, but we are going to make sure to catch the rest of this first. Not many chances left to make a move, and Tim Hendrickson did that absolutely textbook with a hard outbreak in the one time it matters the most. That turn 1 has left to a lot of passing. Toga gets past Devante. I'll keep an eye on what happened there as well. Adam Miles tantalizingly wants another win on the books. He wins almost every week he shows up. He's going to need an unbelievable exit from the last few corners to stop Tim Hendrickson from walking away with it, and in essence, this championship. He throws the car in. It's not enough alongside. There's contact. There's unsettling. We're going to have a lot to revisit at the end of this race. I don't think it's worked to take down Hendrickson. And after a drama-filled white flag, we're going to catch all of it, don't you worry. Tim Hendrickson comes to claim the win at Oschersleben. Ah, these races always take a while to heat up and explode. Wow. Let's see if we can work out what happened. Camera wasn't quite on Daniel Atoga going into turn 1. It's the 2 of Sam Devante behind. Don't think this brilliant pass into turn 1, and that was spectacular, truly has much of an impact that plays into this. Oh, I think there he might just be trying to cut across the nose onto a car that is definitely coming. I want the onboard. I want the onboard of we're all entitled to our opinions, and sometimes my opinions are wrong, by the way. So, just saying, sometimes my opinions are wrong. It's a very slow entry into the first turn. It is an accident. It's a tough one. I think they'll be disagreeing about that. But that's the glory of all of this. See if I can catch out what happened further down the line to Adam Miles and Tim Hendrickson. Don't actually have an event to jump to, so I'm going to have to just actually do the really sloppy thing of hitting the fast forward button until we know we're there. Should have hit the bookmark. Should have hit the bookmark. When you do production and commentary at the same time, it fries your brain. Sending it dramatically here was going to be the only way anything got done. The send was just a bit dramatic, one could say. And almost just dumped him for the lead. A good save and recovery to rescue this race. Race results and championship standings. Let's calm down a bit. Perhaps let's calm down just a little bit and reflect on what we just saw. Only 12 drivers hit the grid this race, and Tim Hendrickson led over Adam Miles. Ryan Shedoweth finished ahead of Daniel Atoga with Sam Devante and Jerne Zorek behind. Yannick Marrell beat out Chris Wayne with Neil Gardner, Joachim Osbeck in 10th. Race was finished by all drivers. Sebastian Vrede and Peter Sapanki finished in the last 2. Well. Tim Hendrickson, I'm not going to say absolutely 100% just because I don't know how drop weeks work, but I think that's the win he's going to want. to lock in his championship. Well and truly, he's earned this over the course of many, many, many weeks, and it's only now going to be a matter of time to have fun at Mount Panorama. Although he probably wants to win Mount Panorama anyway. Who doesn't want to win Mount Panorama? Miles and Chenoweth could have a bit of a joust to the end for the P2 position, just to make up some time themselves there as well. And it's going to be explosive next week. It's Australia's craziest track for the Australian series. I've been Howie Burroughs, and thank you for tuning in this week, and we're wishing you a very, very good week.